afternoon. I'm reporting today from the G20 International Media Center. The 4-day one of the G20 Leaders Summit have concluded. Participating leaders are departing, including President Biden, whose motorcade departed just a while ago. Others leaders are now leaving on the events, headed back to their hotel or other event that they are participating in today outside of the G20 meeting. Today, the focus was on the G20 Brazilian team, which is addressing hunger. And President Joseph Biden joined President of Brazil, President Lula, to launch a new anti-global hunger initiative to address hunger as well as address poverty, especially for global south. As we know, this is an issue that significantly affects people in the global south, in Africa, in Latin America, and is a program also part of this that the World Bank, as our audience will remember, that last month in October during the IMF World Bank annual meeting, the fall meeting that took place in Washington, D.C. this year, addressing hunger was a theme of the agenda as well. So today, officially, the President Biden and President of Brazil join efforts together to launch this initiative to reduce global hunger and address hunger as well as reduce poverty. Of course, this is something that the President Biden has done in the U.S. when he came into office in 2021. One of the issues that he launched was providing financing to support women, to support families, and we saw significant reduction in childhood poverty across the U.S. And as we know, Congress, of course, when that program, which was part of the COVID pandemic package, when it expired, Congress did not renew that program. But the president, throughout his presidency, continued to call for that. And this initiative, as I said, we address the issue that a lot of families, we have seen droughts, what droughts as well as flood has done to agriculture, to land across the African continent as well as in Latin America. In fact, yesterday, President Biden, who departed the White House last week, Thursday, to travel to Peru, where he participated in the APEC Summit. Yesterday, before arriving in Rio de Janeiro for this summit, he was in Amazon, the first U.S. president to visit the Amazon, and he announced significant investment, significant fund for climate financing, as well as to address take care of the biodiversity in Amazon, to protect those biodiversity. Today, we have spoken to officials, Brazilian officials and other officials about this G7, about this G20 Summit, what it means and the takeaway. And the officials that we spoke with one of the Brazilian senior advisor to the president, and he said the takeaway that they want their legacy to be for their presidency, the G20 Brazilian presidency, is that under this team, they are able to bring coalition together and ensure that this issue are addressed across, not just in the global south, but across the world as well. And we believe that right now there are people, I'm going to see what is going on. There is a leader there that the media are circling around. Let's go and see and take a moment, and then we will return back to our live broadcast.
estamos reemplazados por otros tipos de tecnología. Me parece importante como una discusión mundial que nos va a afectar a todos los países y prevenir esa hecatombe social. Tener una fórmula como la renta ciudadana universal, por ejemplo, una cambio de la financiación pública.
So that is the Colombia president speaking to the press over there. So we are just back to what I was talking about before that interruption to see. We thought that was the Brazilian president that is speaking, for it is the president of Colombia, who is also part of this the G20 member. So the initiative that was launched today, as I mentioned, we help address, is also part of the addressing the climate crisis that we're seeing across the world. We have seen the effects of drought as well as the effect of flood, not just in the global south. We're seeing it as well in advanced economic, as our audience we know this, like as recent as the Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton that happened across the southern region of the U.S. With devastating impact, not just climate, not just on the neighborhood, but also on the economic as well. A lot of businesses have been closed in that area due to the devastating impact of that hurricane. So bringing this together, bringing this coalition of people together, we help address and reduce the poverty that we're seeing across the world, and more significantly, it will help address hunger and provide the funding that a lot of smallholder farmers in developing economic and emerging economic that they need significantly to continue to produce the food that we need. Earlier today, the White House briefed the press. A senior White House official briefed the press earlier this morning about the U.S. agenda for this G20 Summit. And the conversation that the president will be having with his counterpart here. There are 5 African leaders that are participating in this event. As we reported yesterday, we have Angola, the president of Angola, President Lourenço, the president of Egypt, President El-Sisi, the president of Mozambique, President Yuzi, the president of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, as well as the president of Tanzania, are all here attending. She is the only woman president participating from Africa that is participating at this event today. So again, part of the President Biden presidency, part of his legacy in the 4 years of participating at the G7, at the G20, as well as the G7, is what he has done, bringing the coalition together to address significant issues that affect developing countries, especially in Africa. He pushed to ensure that Africa at the table. Now we have the African Union that is representing majority of the African country as a full member of this G20 alliance. It became a full member last December, and it was through the Biden-Harris administration effort of ensuring that Africa had now included at the discussion table regarding global agenda. Of course, we know that that continent has significant population, and in the past it has been excluded, but the world is shifting. Part of the conversation that I had with people here today is the world is shifting, and it's not just the advanced economic anymore. We are seeing significant shift to the global south, and the global south are coming together more united to have one voice and make demand for what their population also need. And the other legacy from the Biden presidency at the G20 alliance is working with his fellow counterpart China to ensure that the debt relief that African nations need in addressing the significant debt burden that high interest rate that a lot of this country carry that have significant impact on their economy, that this issue are addressed, and that was part of the conversation today, as well as will be part of that conversation tomorrow as well. So it is through President Biden's efforts of working across how, regardless of differences, regardless of competition between economic, working with China and other countries to ensure that this country will be able to get the relief and the funding that they need. They are already, today, the part of the agenda also is to ensure there is an increase in funds for the World Bank, and that increase will go towards supporting global south, developing and emerging economic as they deal with different issues from climate financing to debt relief to addressing the infrastructure as well as digital technology that the need that a lot of this country are in need of. So today that President Biden is aiming to unlock at least $36 billion in new lending fund, pandemic fund, and also is planning to push for clean energy transition in partnership. That was not announced today because a lot of the programs were not broadcast here, unlike the G7 where we have simultaneous broadcasting of all the events today. We have a smaller room here at the media center, so there wasn't a simultaneous broadcasting of all the events that were taking place with the leader. But as I mentioned, the administration today from the White House said that the president we address we launched a bilateral clean energy transition with Brazil, in partnership with Brazil, and then we also discussed how to work to address the crisis that we are seeing between Russia and Ukraine, as well as the crisis in the Middle East. Right now we are heading back to the hotel. As I said, President Biden, and you will see this, that the President Biden already departed over here. And he had bilateral meeting today with the Prime Minister of Canada, Prime Minister Trudeau, and the President of Mexico. And this wrap up our news. And tomorrow, later on today, we will bring you more updates from where we're staying regarding some of the activities that African leaders, including the African Development Bank President Akinwumi Adesina, that is participating at this event. We are trying earlier today I was trying to see if we could get a one-on-one with the South Africa Minister of International Affairs today, and we are still working with their media team and communication team to see. And once we have that confirmation, of course, we will bring that to you as well. And these are the conversation, the interview from earlier today with the special advisor to the Brazilian president, as well as other interview that we were able to get with officials today. You are with the Brazilian government. As you look back at your presidency of the G20, what would you like people to take away, especially with this? This is the concluding event, and your government will hand over to South Africa. What are your accomplishments, and what would you like people, the leaders, after tomorrow, to take away from this event?
Well, I believe that Brazil has shown to the entire world that it's possible to bring the voices of the Southern, the global South, to the fore. I think we showed that we really need to fight inequalities, to fight hunger and poverty, and we put these issues, these themes on the table. So that's definitely the biggest legacy of Brazil. We also brought to the discussions the populations, the societies, the voices of the societies.
Of the civil
of
society.
G20, exactly. So that's another legacy that we have. So I believe we innovated in many areas, but we need South Africa to continue implementing and working on all these strategies. So we have the commitment of President Ramaphosa, which is amazing, and we have to keep on. So you can count on the support of Brazil to make South Africa's presidency as special as Brazilians, or even better, we hope so. And yes, keep representing the voices of the global South.
Okay, as you look, some of the initiatives that were launched today between the U.S. and Brazil regarding fighting hunger, regarding fighting global poverty, there is a new president that will be inaugurated starting next year, January. Are you worried about that? Some of these initiatives that you have launched at this summit might be reversed. Do you have any concern that the incoming U.S. administration might pull some? Because I've heard from people outside. Do you have any?
I don't think so. I believe the greatest initiatives of the Brazilian presidency, they go way beyond one or another government, south or north. One of the the key strategies of the Brazilian presidency was to overcome polarities, the controversies, and to find common ground. And I believe no one is going to be against the fight against hunger and poverty. I believe no one will be against fighting climate change. No one will be against the reform of the global governance. So the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty has gained life. It's a child that now is going to have to start walking with its own legs. So I believe we're on the right track. Of course, we have some concerns, but we are definitely sure that if South Africa keep working together with Brazil, and we reinforce the importance of these agendas, I believe the next presidencies will be pretty much under, I wouldn't say pressure, but they will feel that they will have to continue that. So that's kind of what we are doing.
My last question to you, I know you have to go. Education was a big topic at this event, but could you talk about your agenda for women?
Yeah, that's a very impressive and very important agenda. So Brazil has created an entire group, a working group on the empowerment of women. That's a very difficult agenda to be discussed within G20 because of the heterogeneity of the countries, but made very important progress, and I believe this agenda has come to stay. We still have some issues with some countries with gender questions, gender issues, but I'm pretty sure that from now on, these will gonna be like a key and central agenda of G20, and we really need to bring women to more positions of power to the fore. We need to listen to the new voice in order to make better decisions. So I think we made, that was one of the goals.
Okay, you laid the foundation. So you laid the foundation for the next presidency to continue. Well, thank you very much. I can see that this has been a boost for your economic as well. Yes, bringing in tourism for your country as well.
Everything is part of it, right?
Okay.
So every country that hosts G20, we work a lot, but it also have it has its pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
And definitely we're showing this beautiful Rio de Janeiro to everybody, and I'm pretty sure that we will leave a great image of our country to the entire world.
Okay, thank you very much for talking with me. This concludes our news wrap and update for today again reporting from the G20 International Media Center. Thank you very much for watching. And lastly, before I go, I want to use this opportunity as well to thank our sponsor and our supporter that make this trip possible for us. Thank you very much. And we are very grateful for your continued support, for supporting us. And this concludes our news for today, reporting from the G20 International Media Center. I am Kemi Odukoya. I will see you tonight or tomorrow. Have a good evening. Thank you very much for watching.